Hello, good evening. Thanks to everyone who has made time this evening to spend the night with us and go through what we think is a fascinating development inside the DSO space. And that is a real interesting phenomenon of rapid consolidation across all specialties in the DSO space. You know, we've seen this in general dentistry for years and years, and now we're seeing a lot of that in the specialty space. So want to share our thoughts with you on that tonight. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. First things first, if you have questions during our presentation this evening, please submit them in the text box. If we don't get around to answering your questions this evening, we will certainly get back to you in the coming days. Thanks to all of you who submitted questions in the past. Great banter, great questions, really interesting insights from each and every one of you, and we welcome all your comments and questions. Secondly, if you've enjoyed this webinar series, and judging by the attendance, there's been a lot of great interest out there, I wanted to make you aware of a live event. That's right, a live event in person that we're doing in Denver, Colorado. We will be in Denver July 28th, that's a Wednesday night, leading into DICOMA's DSO conference. So here's the way this is going to work. We're going to be hosting an M&A conference focused on really what's going on inside of the consolidation of the market. What is private equity looking for? We're going to have some personal journeys from individuals who have sold their business to share with you what that process is like and what it's like on the other side. This conference will run from about 8 to 4 that afternoon, and it is at the same conference facility where the DICOMA DSO conference is. So come out a day early. Go out around Denver, have fun on Tuesday. Get yourself a nice meal. Get a hotel room early. Get up and come visit and spend time with us in Denver, where we are sure to entertain you and really help you understand the opportunities that exist for large practices and group practices today. So again, that's the DICOMA DSO conference. We are hosting a conference on July 28th in Denver, Colorado. You can visit their website to register for it, or if you want additional information directly from us, reach out to us at info@tusk-partners.com, or you can always find me at kevin@tusk-partners.com. All right, that's it for the housekeeping. Thanks for putting up with me, and let's go ahead and dig in. So first, introductions. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kevin Cumbus. I'm the president and co-founder of TUSK Partners. A little bit of background, I spent 10 years of my career post-college in finance and investment banking, both in New York and down in Charlotte. Got involved in the dental industry in a brokerage capacity with the McGill and Hill Group. We're at about 120 sales with that group. From there, migrated over to Affordable Dentures, one of the largest DSOs in the nation. Worked in both an operations and business development role. Then built my own dental practice, Mundo Dentistry, ended up selling that to an amazing associate who's continued to keep that business growing each and every year. And now am working exclusively inside of TUSK. We work with individual dentists, large practices, and groups that are pre-private equity that are looking for capital partners for growth and an exit strategy. We work with groups nationwide and have quite a track record inside of the space. Here at TUSK, we've got 6 dedicated team members focused exclusively on mergers and acquisitions, 30 plus years of dental experience. At the end of last year, although it was a challenging, choppy M&A market, 2020, thanks to COVID, we still did over $100 million worth of transactions, and have there's a update here. We have about $400 million of deals under letter of intent that are all expected to close in 2021. We've worked on over 200 dental practice transactions, cover all specialties, and our lifetime average transaction multiple in the specialty space is north of 8 times EBITDA. So we love the specialty space and want to share with you what we've seen in the market. Okay, so this slide is a blast from the past. Anybody who's followed TUSK and seen us present at conferences has surely seen this slide. It was one of the cornerstones that we relied on early on 5 years ago, back in the foundational days of this business. And I like to call this the $1 million slide. I mean, this was a slide that was commissioned by a large company that's in the dental space, and they paid McKinsey a lot of money for it. And McKinsey came back and said, all right, here's the answer. The question was, what's going on inside of the industry, and where's this industry going to be in 5 years? McKinsey comes back and says, well, today private practice represents about 75% of the market. The middle market, 2 to 25 locations, is about 13% of the market. And elite groups, 25 plus locations, is about 12% of the market today. And then what's going to happen over the next 5 years? So this is kind of the 5-year check-in on this slide, because we started showing this slide about 5 years ago. So McKinsey forecasted that individual practices would be about 60% of the market, whereas mid-market would be about 25% of all dental groups, and 15% of the market would be elite groups. I show this to say the consolidation has occurred, but it has not occurred this rapidly. It is beginning to pick up steam, and that steam is really derived from the specialty space. So let's move to the specialty space for a minute. For all you specialists out there that rely on referrals, this chart to the left should look strikingly familiar. When you came out of residency and opened up your practice, my guess is you relied on your relationships with your referring partners to provide you patients on which you could provide care. Orthodontists rely on pediatric dentists for this. And this has been really the status quo for decades. My father, who's a pediatric dentist, would refer to a couple orthodontists, and every year a bottle of Dom Perignon would show up under the Christmas tree. And my father would say, my God, I sent him $2 million worth of work, and I got a $200 bottle of champagne. And look, that's the way that economy worked for a long time. Well, over time, this has changed. Specialists now are seeing some of their referring sources being bought up. And when you see your referring sources bought up and they begin to disappear, you begin to wonder, where are you going to find additional patients? So what specialists have gotten, the good specialists have gotten really great at, is direct to patient marketing. That referral from the dentist used to be unwavering. And the patients would take that and say, Doc, tell me where to go and I'll go. Well, that's not as sticky as it once was. I'm on an app called Nextdoor, and I'm on a platform called Facebook, and very, very often I see mothers posting on there, hey, my child needs braces, where shall I go? My guess is that patient has a pediatric dentist, and my belief is that mother was provided a referral source. And she looked at that referral and said, thanks very much. I'm going to go to my trusted community on Facebook and figure out who everybody else is using. So specialists now have to be focused on that direct-to-patient marketing to make sure that they're going to maintain and grow their businesses, especially with the acquisition of many of their referring doctors into DSOs. So this is where we see massive shifts in the specialty model. So let's take a walk down memory lane for a minute. Specialists have been historically locked out of DSO value creation and aggregation. Heartland Dental Care built their business in 1980, and they built their acquisition model really around GP dentists. The thinking there was that there was this great recurring revenue in the hygiene side, and that the dentist himself or herself, if they ever left, could be relatively easily replaced with another dentist. And the market was a little nervous about the specialty space. They said, look, there's no hygiene in there. There's no recurring revenue in there. If we lose a specialist, that's a big, big loss. There's big key man risk associated with losing a surgeon or an endodontist or an orthodontist. And for the longest time, the market turned its back on the specialty space, deeming it too risky for massive investment. Yes, there was the Orthodontic Centers of America trade that we all know, that debacle that was a DSO that resulted in massive amounts of litigation, and the attorneys all won. But since that period of time, the market had really been focused on GP, general practitioner, consolidation in the space. Well, in 2015, all that changed. 2015, we saw the creation of a business called Smile Doctors. Smile Doctors was founded by Scotty Law and Dana Fender, and funded by Sheridan and Thurston Group. This was a business focused exclusively on affiliations with orthodontists. It was not a new concept, but it was new in the way that they executed the strategy. Smile Doctors grew from a small handful of locations upon inception to over 90 offices in 11 states in 2 years. This business sold and was recapped in October of 2017 to Linden, and from our understanding, early investors did quite well for themselves. The market took notice of this, and we began to see more and more focus and attention on the specialty space: orthodontics, oral surgery, and endodontics. So in 2017 they sell, and in 2017 a new business appears inside of a new specialty: U.S. oral surgery. This was a business that is near and dear to my heart because we represented a large oral surgery platform that was one of the inaugural cornerstone acquisitions for this group. This group now has over 70 oral surgery practices throughout the United States. This is a business funded by Riverglade and the Thurston Group again, and it is our guess and assumption that they will be trading here pretty shortly. We're sitting here at the very beginning of 2021. They're just about 3 to 4 years in on this business. Private equity likes to make 5-year runs, and I would say this has been an extremely successful run. Since U.S. oral surgery came on the scene, there have been many additional oral surgery groups that have come about. But the Thurston Group had one more play, and they created U.S. Endodontic Partners. U.S. Endo came out of the ground about 2018 and has been on a meteoric rise with respect to acquisitions. They continue to grow as well. So here you have 3 businesses in 3 specialties, trailblazers inside of the space that soon others began to emulate their business models. And we see these businesses all over the space. And we are in constant contact with them as they are always looking for additional acquisition targets. So how voracious is the demand out there for businesses, specialty businesses? Rather than kind of pound the table here and say it's unbelievable out there, you're not going to believe the demand. Let's just give you a case study so we can actually teach from history and from our experience. This is a deal that we took to market in January of this year. It was an excellent oral surgery group, a fantastic collection of leader surgeons inside of the business, a long history of strong revenue and EBITDA throughout the organization, lots of surgery, lots of implants, excellent clinical leadership, and really nice payer mix. They had about $3 million of EBITDA spread across 3 locations, and they had already received an unsolicited offer on this business. When they came to us, we looked at the offer and said, we're certain we can beat that offer. We knew who the buyer was that came to them, and we absolutely wanted to include that buyer in the process. They said, look, if you think you can beat it, and we said, well, we're sure we can, but more importantly, we can bring different groups to you. It's not just about the economics in these transactions. Yes, the economics are important, but when you're doing transactions like this, you're going to be required to stay to work post-sale for 3 to 5 years. Again, specialists are rare. They are hard to find, and the industry viewed the specialty space as risky because you specialists out there are not easy to find. So the way that they temper that risk is by having the sellers sign longer term employment agreements closer to 5 years. All right, so back to the trade at hand. So we were engaged by this group to take them to market. And we built our one-page teaser like we do, and we went out to a handful of buyers. For situations like this, we knew who the buyers were. We know who the buyers are in each and every market, depending on the geography, the payer mix, the specialty, whether they are a de novo business, whether they are a acquisition business, if they're single state or multi-state. There is a buyer for each and every one of our clients. And in this case, we whittled the entire buyer population down to the 25 best for this client. So of that 25 we went to, certain buyers said they wanted to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So we went from 25 folks down to 20 who actually executed a non-disclosure agreement that indicated they wanted to learn who the buyer was and they wanted to learn more about the opportunity. From there, we had ongoing conversations with them to gauge their interest. And from the 20 that executed a non-disclosure agreement, 14 decided that they wanted to roll up their sleeves and get to know this business from an economic perspective. Now, our virtual data rooms are robust. They are known throughout the industry as being, some of the most thorough out there. They enable our buyers to get to decisions quickly. When you're in a process like this, you want the buy side to be able to move swiftly and get to yes or no. Look, no is a perfectly appropriate answer because it allows us not to waste time with buyers that don't quite either appreciate, understand, or have the appetite for that acquisition. So we're going from 20 to 14 in our mind is a really good thing, and then getting 14 folks access to the VDR simply means that we are answering questions of 14 buyers, helping them understand the value proposition of the target. Keep in mind, our clients, the surgeons here, were focused on their job and their business. They were able to continue to see patients and work fluidly throughout this process while we manage the buy side. So we really grant our clients freedom to do what they do best while we do what we do best. From the 14 that gained access to the virtual data room, from that comes a host of questions, and from the buyers, and one of those questions is, we'd really like to meet with the leadership. During COVID, it's been a little bit of a challenge to meet with leadership. We've done a lot of Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, and I actually think that's sped up the process from our perspective. We've seen Zoom as a really great tool and something that is meaningful for buyers to get to see and know you. It's a poor substitute from dinner with someone or sitting across the boardroom with them, but it's really a nice accelerant to the relationship, so you can get to know each other, I believe, a lot more quickly than you can over the phone. So 14 groups in the VDR down to 8 management meetings that we hosted. These were not full-day affairs. Some of these were just 1-hour meetings over Zoom, whereas others were half-day meetings and dinners. From the management meetings, those led to letters of intent. A letter of intent is simply a non-binding legal document that grants one buyer the exclusive access to perform further diligence. So when you receive letters of intent, you want to get as many as you possibly can so you can begin to negotiate them against one another. No letter of intent is the same, and for those of you who've received them, you know this, but it is maybe 3, maybe 10 pages of written word, and from there you're supposed to understand what the economic value of it is. It's hard to do if you don't do this all day, every day. And what we do with our clients is we actually spread those numbers out in Excel and help them understand the makeup of that transaction. Additionally, it's not just the headline number. It's not just the total enterprise value that should be driving your decision making. It really should be the overall cash flow over the 5 or 10 years that you anticipate to remain in the business itself. So we received 5 letters of intent, and we're able to negotiate those effectively for our clients, including various equity structures and payouts for the doctors along the way. And ultimately, we committed to one buyer going forward in this transaction. I am pleased to tell you that the offer that they have accepted is 80% above the unsolicited offer that they received. Additionally, the buyer that put in that original unsolicited offer came up close to 70% from their initial offer. So what I want you to hear is you're going to get unsolicited offers from the market. If you are a business of size and have a great brand reputation, you are on a list. When you get that unsolicited offer, do not take it. Pick up the phone, give us a call, let us bring the market to you, and then you can make a well-informed decision about which group you want to work with and why. We'll get the economics where they need to be, but the cultural fit is what we want you to focus on there. So the culmination of the work was it was a win-win-win for the practice, the partner, the team, and the patients. We had a nice slug of equity rolled into the new partner and strong economics around. These are great transactions for us where the client comes in, is ready to sell, and they understand that time matters, but partner matters more. So a successful transaction and something that we are really, really proud of here at TUSK. Some people ask us, come on, this can't be true, right? How can you tell me that you've increased the unsolicited offer by 80% or 60%? We do this each and every week here at TUSK. The way we're able to do that is by going broad and building a competitive process. On the screen here, you will see some sample transactions data of deals that we have done over time, but I want to focus your attention on the right-hand side here on the comment section. In these 21 transactions, we went broad in each and every case. And across the 21 transactions, there are 16 unique buyers. What you should hear there is we're not going to the same buyer each and every time just trying to get deals closed. We are working hard on behalf of our clients to ensure that we leave no stone unturned to bring them the best economics and the best cultural fit. Secondly, the bullet point I want to highlight here is the last bullet point on the right-hand column. We saw no deterioration of value through a quality of earnings process in 2020. When you sell your business to a private equity-backed DSO, they're going to come to you with a letter of intent that includes what they believe the EBITDA to be. And then there's going to be a multiple on that EBITDA. For example, if you've got $2 million of EBITDA, the letter of intent might read, we'll pay you 7 times that EBITDA, subject to verification of your EBITDA by a third-party accounting firm who will perform a quality of earnings. So what we hear all too often from the market is, I signed that up and the $2 million turned into $1.5 million, or the $2 million turned into 1.7. When you set your expectations at 2 million times 7 or $14 million, and there's a material deterioration of value there, it can leave a bad taste in your mouth, and it can also lead to people not doing transactions. We go the extra mile on the front end to ensure that we understand and know and build defendable positions around your adjusted EBITDA. So once we go through that quality of earnings process, we are on a solid foundation and can defend our position and are extremely confident that there's not going to be a material decline in valuation. So anyway, it's something I'm really proud of. I'm proud of our team for succeeding in that arena. Okay, final thoughts and notes here. You've heard us say before, there's a sense of urgency around this. If you are a specialist today and are thinking about selling your practice in the next 2 to 3 years, I would give it careful consideration this year. There are 3 real important forces at work that are unique to this stitch in time. Number 1, demand has never been higher for businesses like yours. Buyers in the space were not able to execute on all the transactions they had in their pipeline in 2020. The reason is their lenders froze up, they lost access to capital, and deals that they thought they should have closed in, let's call it summer, fall and winter of 2020 didn't get done because of lack of liquidity. It wasn't from a lack of desire. It wasn't from a lack of fit. It was from a lack of liquidity. And when those deals fell apart, and the buyers were not able to put that EBITDA inside of their business, the leadership team came under scrutiny. So now that the lenders have softened again and they're ready to lend into acquisitions, the CEOs of these organizations and the heads of business development have said now's the time to act. We have to move now to make up for lost time, and buy as many practices as we can, as much EBITDA as we can in this window. They are also concerned that in 2022 there could be some major tax changes coming. There was some big news that broke last week about corporate tax changes. There'll be more news coming out about this. The fear is that any increase in taxes could incent sellers to hold off on selling their business because there's less money available to them after taxes. So this pent-up demand coupled with expectation of lower supply is really fueling a lot of buyers in the market today to pay more than they ever have for businesses just like yours. We are getting inbound calls, inbound emails from buyers all over the nation looking for specialty practices because their demand far exceeds the supply. The great thing about that is we can bring all of them to you, and you don't have to just focus on the economics. You can focus on the leadership team, the culture, and whether or not you think your business would be a good fit with them. Number two is that taxes are going up. No secret here. If you've picked up a newspaper or probably gotten a haircut in the last couple weeks, you've heard that everybody's got fear around taxes going up. What we have heard is, here's what we do. So we've talked to the private equity groups and the economists, and we're talking to folks who were pundits up in D.C. We don't believe that this will be retroactive back to the beginning of this year. Could it be? Yeah, it seems a little far-fetched. But more than likely, these tax changes would be coming out next year. I mean, the truth of the matter is the IRS is underfunded. They got PPP loans to get through. There are not enough people to examine tax returns, and CPAs right now are completely overwhelmed. So by adding another layer of complexity like a tax hike that would be retroactive would be detrimental to the industry as a whole. So I don't see that happening. If taxes do go up to where the Biden White House would like them to, which would bring long-term capital gains and ordinary income tax rates up to 39.6%, it would result in an increase of 82% in taxes on the sale of your business. So these numbers are large, they're material, and impactful. So sometimes it's hard to just kind of, for me at least, to really understand what that means without taking a look at an example. So what I've done here is laid out for you a transaction that would close in 2021, looking at $3.4 million. Oh, let me get my laser pointer up. I've always wanted to use this. Let me see if I can get it to work. Sweet. All right, here we go. All right, so adjusted EBITDA of $3.4 million at a multiple of 9 times is going to be about $30 million of enterprise value. We're going to assume an allocation of the purchase price between fixed assets and intangibles of around 10% to fixed and 90% to intangibles, which results in a blended federal tax rate of 21.7 million. All right, so now we know our tax rate. The allocation of the purchase price between cash and equity is 80% cash, 20% equity. So we take the cash less the federal taxes, brings us to $17.8 million. And now on the equity, looking at that $6.1 million of equity, assuming a return on invested equity of about 3 times and a tax rate at 20%, brings us to an after-tax net benefit of a total of $14 million. So Now, that's the equity piece. This is the cash piece. The summation of those two together is $32.5 million. I know that this ignores the time value of money, but we have to, this helps illuminate really what could happen in 2022. So the only thing that changes in this blue column is an increase in the tax rate to where the Biden White House would like it to be. Everything else is the same. The EBITDA is the same, the multiple is the same, the value is the same, and we can get down to the answer, which is what's the difference in the total after-tax proceeds? Well, we go from $32.5 million down to $32.4 million. And you can see that difference displayed here is about a $9 million difference. That $9 million goes to Uncle Sam. It doesn't go to your family. It doesn't go to your estate. You can't be used to purchase a lake house or a beach house. It goes to Uncle Sam. And this is the impact of waiting today. So the next question we asked around the shop was, okay, if that is the impact, there's another way to make this up, right? So that we look at our valuation, and valuation today is driven by two things. One is EBITDA, and the second is multiple. Well, let's focus on the multiple here first. At what multiple would I have to trade at in 2022 to achieve the same after-tax proceeds? After-tax proceeds of $32.5 million. I can get to $32.5 million if the multiple increases from 9 times to 12.48 times. I think the likelihood of that is very, very low. Well, then maybe there's another way to get there. Can we just focus on growing the EBITDA of the business? Certainly. So again, $32.5 million after-tax proceeds to $32.5 million after-tax proceeds, trading at 9 times. I only need to grow my EBITDA by about 1.3 million. This is a Herculean task to pull off. So this is why we say if you are looking to sell your business in the next 3 to 4 years, now could be the right time for you. The final reason to think about it today and think about it now is because great deals take time. We can work with a client and over the next 5 to 7, 8, 9 months, absolutely close their transaction before the end of the year. On average, it takes us about 6 to 7 months to do that. We are already here now in April. And if you want to get your deal closed before the end of the year and have the largest number of buyers to choose from and not feel pressure when you're negotiating your legal documents because you hear this ticking clock in the background and you're more concerned about closing the deal before the end of the year than getting the right legal structure in place, you need to reach out to us now. For all you specialists out there and everyone on the call, we are more than happy to help you with this process. We offer a complimentary valuation on your business to anyone who's got a group or large practice. You can pop over to our website at tusk-partners.com, click on the sell button, and then scroll down to where it says click here for a free practice valuation. We'll ask you for some pretty high-level information, and then from there we can share with you what it would mean to you and your family should you decide to move forward with the transaction this year. We are running out of time on this, so we're gonna. I'll just tell you we're gonna be selective on who we work with. We wish we could work with everyone, but really just want to make sure that we are working with groups that are committed to this process and are eager to get closed before the end of the year. The final thing I'll say about our client selection is we're pretty clear with everyone about where we believe their deal would trade. I refuse to commit anyone on our team's time to work with a client whose expectations we cannot meet or exceed. So once we level set where we believe the deal absolutely will trade and the client, you, is good with that, from there we can move forward. So look, I know it was a lot of information again in a short period of time. The headline here is if you have a specialty practice or a large group, you need to strongly consider selling today because of the strong demand in the market, the tax changes that are coming, and the fact that you would now have an opportunity to be a part of something likely bigger than you could create on your own. If you'd like to reach out to us, you know where to find us. Ryan, my colleague, who's the Director of Mergers and Acquisitions and takes everything we have in the space today to market, you can reach out to him at ryan@tusk-partners.com. His cell phone is down below. You can always contact me as well, kevin@tusk-partners.com, and then my cell phone is down below as well. This has been a great evening. Thank you all for spending time with us. We're going to keep doing these each and every month. I think it's a great way for us to educate you guys about what we're seeing. If you haven't had a chance, pop over and listen to the podcast as well. We're getting more focused on the M&A space, and we'll be bringing some fresh voices to that that I'm really, really excited about. Just quickly, finally, one more reminder. Join us July 28th in Denver, Colorado for our full-day M&A conference. That's a full day leading up to Dykema's Definitive DSO conference, where we're going to have some of the biggest names in dentistry there, talking about what they see as changes in the consolidation of the space and how M&A activity has shifted over time. We're going to be talking with some of the biggest buyers about what they're looking for in targets. We'll talk with private equity groups who have partnered with groups over time and share with us their experience, and also be talking with accountants and how to prepare your business for sale. Look, like anything else we do, it'll be fun, it'll be engaging, and my guess is we'll all learn over the course of that day. So again, thank you for joining this evening. For those of you who submitted questions, we will certainly get back to you with those. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thank you. Take care. Talk to you next time.